first pile, that is pile 1, then this reading is for you. So let's get started. Let's look at the cards we are getting here. The first card I'm getting is the King of Swords. So this is an Aquarius card. Some of you are really feeling like you need to voice your opinion about something because swords, it's about communication. And the King of Swords is very, it's king energy. So they're very self assured, they know what they want. They're very confident as well. So you've reached a point in the relationship where you need to say some things, you need to speak your own truth. And I feel like a lot of things in the past, it has gone unsaid, or you may have felt a little bit unheard in the relationship. And you want to express yourself. You want to say a couple of things to your partner or the person that you're intending to be in a relationship with. You want to communicate some things about the relationship. Maybe something's bothering you and you want to make things known. I am seeing the Wheel of Fortune as well, the Wheel of Fortune card. Now, this is a card of abundance, of course, but it's a very slow moving energy generally. Wheel of Fortune, it is about abundance, but it's usually a slow moving energy. It's almost like a domino effect or a ripple effect. So you're going to see the advantages over a period of time. It's not going to be instant. So I get a feeling that once you clear the air, once you communicate what you need to with your partner, then you're going to start seeing things improve in the relationship. It may not be an immediate effect, like the relationship is not going to immediately start improving, but you definitely are going to see some changes in your partner. Like maybe they, after you communicate the way you want to be treated, or what you're not really happy with in the relationship, then your partner may start to work on these things, and things are going to start improving gradually. Now, it could be that either one of you is one of the fixed signs. So you could be an Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or a Scorpio. Doesn't have to be the sun sign, but it could just be you could have like a moon in one of these signs or the rising sign, or you could have a bunch of planets in one of these zodiac signs. So either one of you could be one of these four fixed signs. And what I'm seeing is that once you clear the air and once you communicate your needs and what you want from the relationship, then it's going to be a pretty good start. I'm also seeing the Nine of Cups here. Nine of Cups is a very Zen-like moment. It's a card of being very content with yourself. It's almost like not wanting for more, that kind of energy, and it's very much about being happy with what you have going on in the moment. And I feel like once the King of Swords here is really the key. That's what I'm seeing here. Like you really need to express yourself and what's been going on and what's really bothering you, and you need to say it in an assertive manner. That's what I feel for you, pile one. I feel like when you're trying to communicate with your partner, don't be wishy washy or don't try to beat around the bush. This is a time when you need to very clearly communicate what it is that you want, what's working, what's not working, and how, and basically communicate. And it's not about really blaming your partner for things that are not working. It's more about having an open line of communication between the two of you so that you can actually make things work and take things forward. Now, because I'm seeing the Wheel of Fortune and also the Nine of Cups, this is a really good energy. I feel like once you have this conversation with your partner, then things are really going to start moving forward in a positive direction. You both are going to feel quite fulfilled in the relationship, and it's just going to move in a really nice direction. That's what I'm seeing here. What else do we have for pile one? Okay, I'm seeing the devil card here, just when we thought things were going in the good direction. But the thing is, the devil card is not necessarily a bad thing. This is a card of Capricorn. And essentially, the devil card shows two people being sort of caught up in chains. But the thing is, if they could easily remove the chains and move on. Like nothing is really keeping them tied down except themselves. So it's the devil energy is almost like a self-imposed imprisonment, if you will. And I feel like in your relationship, pile one, I feel like in your relationship, maybe you and your partner are going, you've been through some things which made you feel like the relationship was not progressing, or it just wasn't the healthiest dynamic between the two of you. But I feel like once you have this conversation, again, it comes back to the King of Swords energy. Once you have this conversation, it is going to lead to sort of like a path breaking moment for both of you, where you're going to have like this breakthrough moment where both of you figure out that, because you haven't been communicating properly, a lot of things were left unsaid. And the thing about relationships is, you can't read each other's minds. And so you definitely need to communicate. That is the baseline of any relationship. And so the devil card is basically, I don't think this is your current energy, but this is more like your past energy in the relationship, where both of you may have felt like a lot of things were just, it just felt very restrictive. Like maybe the relationship felt very restrictive. You both felt like you were caged in. You didn't feel like you gave each other enough space or freedom to do the things that each of you liked, and that's not very healthy. You do need a fair bit of space and freedom to do your own thing. And I feel like after speaking to each other, you're going to realize that both of you essentially want the same thing, but because you've not been communicating with each other, there have been problems in the past. Let's look at what else we have for pile one. So I'm seeing the Seven of Pentacles. So Seven of Pentacles is essentially about investing in something and waiting and watching. This is not about taking any action or being like it's not a Martian energy where you have to go and do something or get things done. This is more like wait and watch, that kind of energy. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, once you have this conversation with the Wheel of Fortune card, things are going to start moving forward in a really good direction. Both of you are going to start feeling really good, because Nine of Cups is emotions. So cups are about emotions. It's about it's water energy. So this conversation is very needed between the two of you. Once you have this conversation, it's going to be a lot easier. And then it's like I said, it's going to be like a domino effect, like a ripple effect. You won't even have to do that much in the relationship, because you've had this conversation and you both realize that you both want the same things in the relationship. You don't really have to do much. It's going to start working itself out, if that makes sense. So it's not about taking any action. It's just about really communicating with each other in an honest and transparent manner. um, I'm also seeing the Six of Cups. So yes, both of you definitely have very fond memories of the relationship. Things that you might have a discussion with each other on the things that you both used to do together as a couple, and revisit those experiences, because there's a lot of nostalgia involved in your relationship. I feel like both of you are visiting memory lane, like revisiting memory lane, going down memory lane. And a lot of you have very fond memories of the relationship and what you used to do together as a couple. So maybe the conversation is around that, like, how you could reignite the relationship and things that you can do together to sort of bring back uh, the happiness in the relationship, which has been missing for a while. I'm not going to lie. There have been instances in the past where both of you may have felt like the relationship wasn't really going anywhere, but that's not the case. It's really not that much of a big deal, in the sense that once you have this conversation, you'll realize that both of you are very much in love with each other. You definitely want the relationship to work, and it's just about having that conversation and doing things that make both of you happy, and not just individually but also as a couple. And I feel like that's really the crux of what's going on right now in the relationship. Let's look at one more card for pile one. So I'm seeing the death card. Now, the death card doesn't always have to mean the end of a relationship. A lot of the times, it's usually like a reinvention of something. So it's almost like a snake shedding its skin. Very transformative energy. Again, it's very Scorpio energy here. So with the death card here, I feel like a lot of you may sort of find that after you have this conversation with your partner, it's like you're in a new relationship. Yes, you're with the same person, but it's going to feel like a brand new relationship, because a lot of things are going to shift. Like the energy is going to shift. Both of you are going to want to do things together that you may not have done together in the past, or you may be revisiting some nice memories from the past that you want to bring back into the relationship. So it's just very feel good energy. I don't think this is in a negative context at all. The death card can sometimes be a blessing, like just like the tower moment, right? Like sometimes you need some things to end so that fresh beginnings can happen, and that doesn't always have to mean like you're ending the relationship. It just may mean that you're changing something in the relationship, or the end of a toxic cycle in the relationship. That was what the devil card was about, some toxic cycles. And once you have this conversation, you're going to realize that both of you don't want it to be that way. You both want to be happy in the relationship, and you're both going to want to work to making it a happy, fulfilling relationship. So I'm getting very positive vibe from these cards, pile one. I feel like there's nothing to be worried about. You just have to have that conversation with your partner. And it's actually going to be really beneficial because you're going to rediscover things about each other that you may not have before. It's almost like you are seeing parts of each other that you haven't before. It's like almost being with a new person, but you're with the same person, if that makes sense. So if you like this reading, that's it for you, pile one. If you like this reading, do give it a thumbs up. Your likes help my videos stay relevant in the YouTube algorithm. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can definitely drop me a message, an email, and be sure to like and subscribe, share the video with your friends, and all those other things. So let's move on to pile two. Okay, so let's pile two. This is your reading. So let's look at what we have for pile two here. The first card that I'm getting is the Ace of Swords. Okay, so there's some sort of a breakthrough in the relationship because again, swords are about communication, but the Ace of Swords is some kind of positive communication happening. I do want to draw some more cards just to get more clarity on what this is about, but essentially there's some kind of communication happening. Now I am seeing the Eight of Pentacles. Now this is of course money energy, but in the context of the relationship I feel like this is both of you wanting to put in the hard work in the relationship and do what's needed to be done, because I feel like the conversation is going to be more around that. So the conversation may be more around what can both of you do to actually make this relationship work and work in the direction that you want it to. Eight of Pentacles is more like about upskilling, especially in a job context, or from a money point of view, finance point of view. But in the context of a relationship, it's about both of you putting in the effort or putting in the work needed to make the relationship work. And so the Ace of Swords really here is about both of you having that conversation. So what can both of you do as a couple, as partners in the relationship, to progress this relationship to the next level? I think both of you are really serious about taking things to the next level, and you want to get down to the details. Like this conversation is pretty intense in a good way, because sometimes you do need to have those heavy conversations and figure out exactly what you need to do to improve a relationship. So it's going to be a very practical conversation. I don't think this is going to be fluffy in any way, because again, this is Eight of Pentacles. Pentacles is, it's earth energy, it's money energy, and eight is about transformation too. So this conversation is going to be transformative, but it's also going to be very detail oriented. Like you're definitely going to be very practical about what you need to do to make this relationship get better. um, what else am I seeing here? I'm seeing the Strength card here. Now this is definitely, it's a Leo energy, but the thing is, this is more about facing your own demons. It's about doing a sort of SWOT analysis, if you will, on yourself and your partner, on the relationship, and figuring out what what are the strengths in the relationship, what are the strengths in both of you as partners, and where are the weaknesses, because that's really where the rewards are. Like once you work through the so-called quote unquote weaknesses, that's where you can thrive in the relationship. So I feel like this conversation is very intense. It's definitely not a light-hearted conversation. The Ace of Swords is like very transformative energy. It's about communication, but it's this kind of communication that's like a thunderbolt from the sky, that kind of moment. Like both of you need, yes, it's on a very practical level, but both of you need to have this conversation, because that's going to make the relationship thrive. So this conversation is going to make both of you look at parts of yourself that you may have not looked at before, because the Strength card, like I said before, it's very much about looking at your own demons, and seeing it for what it is, almost like shadow work, that kind of thing. So it's almost like you both are seeing things about each other that are not, they're not light-hearted at all, and these are like shadow aspects of both of you that you're realizing and seeing in each other. And therefore the conversation is going to be very not just heavy, but it's also going to be very healing as well, because you're actually trying to make this work. So it's not just talking about each other's strengths and weaknesses, but it's also on a very practical level. Like how do you use this to your advantage, or how do you use this to make this relationship better? Because I feel like both of you want to thrive in the relationship, and you're just finding you're trying to find very practical ways in making this work. Now, I am seeing the Ace of Pentacles. This is another great card to have. So there could definitely be some kind of money breakthrough in the relationship, because Pentacles is about coins. It's about money. It's a very financially strong energy. And Ace is, it's a very powerful energy for sure. So there may be some kind of a financial improvement in the relationship. Maybe your partner is getting a new job, or starting a new business venture, because again, the eight of pentacles in a financial context, it is about upskilling, right? So this could literally be you or your partner getting a new job, which can mean a better opportunity in the relationship, more financial strength in the relationship, um, and just a lot of abundance coming in the relationship is what I'm sensing here. What else do we have for pile two? I'm seeing the Ace of Wands here. Well, lots of aces. This is a very good sign to have in any reading when you have so many ace cards, because it's just pointing to the fact that you're in the right direction. And there's a lot of abundance coming your way. Ace of Wands, this is fiery energy too, and this is very optimistic, hopeful energy. So the thing about the Eight of Pentacles is the more work that you put in, pile two, or this difficult conversation that you need to have, the more work that you put into the relationship, the better it's going to get, and you're going to start seeing the rewards pretty soon. uh, and it's going to happen quite suddenly as well. Like, it's not like it's going to take a long time for you to see the relationship thriving. So once you have this conversation, and once you get down to the brass tacks, if you will, and talk about each other's shadow aspects, and how you can make this relationship better, you're going to start seeing a lot of improvement. And this Ace of Wands is a very, very hopeful energy. Both of you definitely want to look to the future, because again, is fire energy. And fire energy doesn't really, it's not known for being the most nostalgic out of all the elements. Like water signs are more nostalgic, but fire signs generally tend to be more, futuristic. They want to look at the future. They want to look at what's next. They don't like dwelling on the past too much. Um, it's more about both of you taking lessons from the past and seeing what worked, what didn't work. I think that's what this conversation is really about. It's going to be about revisiting the past to see what has worked, what has not, and what you can actually do practically to leverage this to your advantage, basically. So it's a practical conversation, but it's also very resourceful, because you're utilizing your experiences from the past to make this relationship work and get better. So Ace of Wands, yes, definitely very positive energy here. I'm seeing the Hanged Man as well. So maybe this is a Piscean card, of course, but this is more about looking at things from a different perspective, right? Like, this is, so again, this conversation, or this conversation that both of you have, this could revolve around, like, this could actually make both of you look at things from a completely different perspective. Like, maybe you haven't seen um your partner's point of view before. Maybe you haven't considered their point of view before, and this, for the first time in the relationship, after having this difficult conversation, this intense conversation, you both realize that you really haven't been in each other's shoes. Like, you really haven't been very empathetic towards each other, or seen the relationship from each other's point of view. Because when you start doing that, then you realize that is not only your way, it's not just your point of view that's important. The other person's point of view is also equally important. So you need to take each other's opinions into account, each other's viewpoints into account. And the Hangman is very much about that. It's also about being a little bit adaptable and mutable. I'm getting very mutable energy here. Mutable signs like Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, they are known to be they're known to be adaptable. They don't really stick with their viewpoint for too long, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes the shadow side can be flakiness, but a lot of the times it's good, because it helps the signs adapt. Like, you're able to see each other's point of view and adapt in a situation accordingly. And I think the Hanged Man is very important, because here in this relationship, you're actually trying to see what the other person needs in the relationship. Let's look at one more card for pile two. So I'm seeing the Six of Cups. Both of you are definitely going down memory lane. There's a lot of, like I said, you both are revisiting the past, but I don't think this is more from a nostalgic point of view. Yes, of course, you have fond memories together as a couple, but it's more about being very practical about it. Like, what has worked for you in the past may not be working for you in right now, because the thing is, relationships evolve. People evolve in the relationship, right? Like, you're two individuals in the relationship, and both of you are evolving as individuals, so the relationship dynamic is also going to evolve. And so this is about having a conversation that what has worked for you in the past may not be necessarily working for you now, and that's perfectly fine. You just need to find a practical way on how both of you can make sure that each of you is happy in the relationship, because both of you need to be happy, otherwise the relationship is not going to be thriving. So that's what I have for you, pile 2. I think it's a positive reading. I think it's just about having those tough conversations, and it's going to be good. I think once you have that conversation around what needs to happen, it's going to be a lot of good abundance and a lot of positivity coming your way, because we got a lot of aces in the reading. That's a really positive sign. So let's move on to pile 3. All right, pile 3, this is your reading. Let's look at the cards that we have for you. The very first card I have for you is the Hierophant. So, the Hierophant is a Taurian energy. This is about sticking to tradition. This is about not rocking the boat. This is about honoring what's been tried and tested and proven to be true, what has already worked in the past. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel in any way. This is very erudite, learned energy. This is something that's wise, very wise. And it could be quite literally that either one of you is a Taurus. It doesn't have to be a Taurus sun. You could have like Taurus moon sign or rising sign, or just have a lot of planets in Taurus, or just embody the archetype. But one of you is definitely having strong Taurus energy. Um, Again, it's also about like sticking to the tried and tested ways. Like, sometimes there's a lot of wisdom in sticking to what's been done throughout the ages, right? Like, you don't always want to be the path breaker. You don't always want to be the trailblazer. There's a time and place for that. But sometimes in relationships, you want to stick to what's tried and tested rather than experimenting. I don't think this is a time for experimenting too much. I am seeing the Seven of Swords. Now, this is a bit guarded energy. Like, Seven of Swords is usually about some kind of, not necessarily betrayal, but just someone stealing, or someone draining the other person, right? Like, this could literally be either of you, or one person maybe cheating on the other person, or there could be some kind of betrayal involved. But definitely shady energy. This is not an energy to be trusted. I do want to pick up another card and see what this is about. I'm seeing the Empress card again, very Taurus energy. So I feel like one of you is very relaxed and laid back in the relationship. Again, very chill, very Taurus vibes, because I'm seeing the Hierophant and the Empress card. Both of these are very Venusian Taurus energy. And then I'm also seeing the Seven of Swords, which is very flaky, like looking over your shoulder, very shady, secretive. So I'm getting a very contrasting dynamic here. So I'm seeing the yeah, I'm seeing the Three of Wands as well, which is about weighing your options, looking at what's out there, looking at your options. So I get a feeling, because I do this intuitively, I get a feeling like um, one of you may be very stuck in your ways, and you probably don't realize that the other person is cheating or is betraying you or is looking outside the relationship for options, because Three of Wands is about that. Three of Wands is about looking at what's out there, plenty of fish in the sea, that kind of energy. Or even if they're not actively doing, like actively cheating, or they're definitely thinking about it, that's the energy that I'm getting. So it could be just emotionally cheating, but that's equally damaging, right, to a relationship. Now, the Empress card, Hierophant card, if you're the one who is more steadfast and not really the one who's cheating, then you probably have a partner who's doing that to you. But one of you is definitely looking out for options. That's what I'm sensing here. And the other person is either unaware or chooses not to look at that side, because one of the shadow sides of Taurus is they can remain in relationships way beyond the expiry date, because it's a fixed sign and it's fixed earth. There is a real danger with Taurus signs, strong Taurus energy people, that they don't want to let go. They have a lot of trouble letting go, and especially because they like routine so much and they like what's familiar so much, they can stay in the relationship even if it's going wrong, or even if it's going south, they still will stay there because it's familiar, because they've known that person all their life and they don't want to rock the boat, they don't want to start afresh. Let's look at what else we are getting for pile 3. So I'm getting the Emperor card. Okay, so this is again very fixed energy. I mean, of course, it's a card of Aries. Aries is a fire energy, it's a cardinal sign. It's all about starting something, initiating something. Also, it's the higher octave of Aries. So it's very much about being very self assured. It's the Emperor card, so it's definitely not worried about anything. It knows what it wants, and it knows it's going to get whatever it wants. So I get a feeling like there is a level of stoicism in this relationship that either you or your partner have about the relationship. Like, you feel like even if your partner is cheating, the relationship is not going to go, like, it's not going to disintegrate. That's the energy that I'm getting here. So it's almost like being in denial. That's what I'm sensing here. One of you is in denial while the other person is out there exploring their options. One of you is probably in denial, or either if it could be the fact that you know the truth, you've already seen the proof that they're cheating on you, but again, like I said, because of safety and familiarity, you want to stay on in the relationship. You don't want to rock the boat and things like that, which is also unhealthy. It's sometimes you need to change things up, because stagnation can be really unhealthy sometimes. I'm also seeing the Sun card here. So I feel like eventually the relationship is going to stabilize, because the Sun card is the card of Leo. It's a very childlike innocence and it's very pure energy. There's a lot of creativity involved with Leo or the Sun card. And it's like a ray of sunshine, basically, like a breath of fresh air. So I feel like eventually the relationship is going to stabilize and you both will come back to the relationship the way it was. But I feel like right now there's a bit of turbulence happening where either you or your partner is looking out for options. But that does not mean it's going to stay that way forever. So eventually, if they are the one who's cheating on you, they're going to realize that the grass is not really greener on the other side. They're going to come back to you. Um, they may be coming. In fact, if you've caught them cheating on you and they're coming back to you, they're definitely coming back with some kind of peace offering, because I'm seeing the Knight of Cups. This is Virgo energy. Sorry, not Virgo energy, but this is water energy, cups of emotions. And they may be coming back with some kind of you know peace offering, or just wanting to make up in the relationship. And I don't know if you're ready to have them back yet, but being this strong fixed energy, like if you're a Taurus, then you know that you do give people a lot of chances, and it may be that you forgive your partner and you bring them back into the fold. uh, but you're definitely going to be monitoring them, that's for sure. It's not going to be the same exactly like it was before, because once the trust is gone, it's quite difficult for a Taurus person to keep the trust. um, but you're definitely going to still give this relationship another chance. Like I said, when you're in a long-term relationship, it's you don't really let go that easily. You definitely want to keep the peace and stay in the relationship no matter what. So that's what I have. Let's just draw one more card and see what the final message is. I'm seeing the Ace of Cups. That's a good sign. I do feel like eventually um, you will work out the issues in the relationship. There's going to be some kind of resolution to it. It's not going to be the end of it all. So yeah, it's a good energy for sure. So that's what I have for you, pile 3.